And let's take a gander now at the New England perspective of this. So, Josh, here's the thing. Obviously, this was a team that was virtually shut out all night, right?
Yeah.
Really couldn't get anything going. Not even the running game, which they've leaned on quite a bit over the past, pretty much all year, but especially in the playoffs from Andre Stevenson, Travion Henderson. They really kind of leaned on their running game towards, the back half of the season heading into the playoffs and in the playoffs. But this was just something the Seattle defense came prepared for, something that they just didn't have any gas with. From the New England perspective of things, what did you kind of come away with after their Super Bowl loss?
I mean, I came after what I learned from it was kind of what we were thinking, was that this Patriots team was way ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
They have done an incredible job, and Mike Vrabel very deserving of Coach of the Year for what he did, turn this 4-win team into a team that was really 4 quarters away from winning the Super Bowl. So they are going, like, as shocking as it might sound to some people, I think they're going to be okay. Because
it's not over. You
don't have to burn it down. We don't have to rebuild. Now, are they going to go 14-3 next season? No. Their schedule is certainly going to be more difficult. Are they still going to be a 10, maybe 11-win team? I think so. Mm-hmm. I think they'll still be in the mix for the division. Definitely still a playoff caliber team. Drake May, now with this type of playoff experience, gets some more confidence and knowledge under his belt. And you got to remember, they pulled this off where in the offseason, they drastically improved their defense, and it showed.
Yeah.
They did an excellent job. As we mentioned a few minutes ago, their best offensive player at the Super Bowl was Mac Hollins.
Right.
So if they start doing some improvements with that side of the ball, question, what are we doing with Stephon Diggs? What are we doing with Ramondre Stevenson? Travion Henderson, rookie. How is he going to improve in his second year? Hunter Henry, where the hell was he during the Super Bowl? Because he was Drake May's favorite target all season.
3 catches for 31 yards for him.
Right. So they definitely have some issues on the offensive side of the ball. I think they're going to be able to work their way through it. And I really think they're going to be fine. And because we know there's the history of the Super Bowl runner-up is just like abysmal the following year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that is going to be the case with the Patriots. Look, you look at the division. We already know the Dolphins are not going anywhere. We already know the Jets are not going anywhere. They're going to deal with Buffalo, probably split those 2 games with Buffalo like they do every year, it seems like.
Right, yep.
And then with their more difficult schedule, see where the cards lie.
They probably tumble a bit. Right.
Again, they're not going to be a 14-3. They're not going to be the 1 seed headed in next year. Mm-hmm. But they are going to make some right moves. Just like we said with Seattle, there are going to be some free agents that be like, hey, I'm willing to go over here to try to win a ring, because the Patriots are back in that conversation. Their free agents, they really have very few free agents, and not anyone, honestly, off the top of my head, that really stands out. Glavine Chason is like really the one as far as their free agents. So I'm taking this as a learning experience for the Patriots, for this young Patriots team that really all of a sudden advanced further than they were hoping maybe to be considered for the playoffs, maybe a 500 team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's still a big win for them, even with the devastating loss that they encountered. And I think the future is going to be just fine for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really say anything different. I mean, it was just a game that Seattle's defense took advantage of New England. They just simply did.
Yeah.
Okay. Drake May was sacked 6 times. There were 3 turnovers by Drake May. That I think is something that there's going to be a chip on Drake May's shoulders now.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to look back on this postseason run and forget about the Super Bowl loss. It just wasn't a great playoff run for Drake May. It wasn't.
Right.
Okay. He was very pedestrian through most of the playoffs. They just kind of coasted into the Super Bowl. And I think if you look deep into that organization, they probably know that,
Mm-hmm.
right? They know that they didn't dominate their way through. They snuck out some wins. That's what, like, that's just the nature of the beast. Yeah. And listen, if you're the Patriots, like, you're looking at that and you're just like, okay, listen, if this is what our ceiling is when we coast, then what can we be when we further develop,
Mm-hmm.
once we get everybody going, right? We make some additions to this offense, right? Because their defense, I think, is fairly, like, we obviously know it. It's Super Bowl ready.
Yes.
Right? Seattle didn't have a great offensive game either.
Nope.
Right? So the Patriots defense, for the most part, really did their job.
Yeah.
And somehow finding a way to create a serviceable pass rush with really some draft failures, right? Guys like Kayvon Chason, guys like Harold Landry, like, these are guys that have had very minimal success in the NFL and then found a way to recreate themselves in New England, to create a serviceable pass rush. That's so important for them, right? The interior of that defensive line is nasty. Milton Williams and Christian Barmore and guys like that's a really talented group of players on the inside of their defensive line. I mean, they have so many good pieces. Christian Gonzalez is one of the best corners in football that doesn't get talked about all that often. Like, they do have a really talented team. They're phenomenally coached with
Mm-hmm.
Mike Vrabel. It is like, there might not be a better coach organization fit than Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. It just works. It is a perfect fit. So yes, the future is absolutely bright. I think, just in my humble opinion, and again, we still have free agency to go through. We still have the draft to go through. There's so many things that we have to go through before we get into next season. We're literally a few days away from the Super Bowl being over.
Doesn't it feel sad?
Yeah, I know. We're months and months away before we get football.
No,
back.
but yeah, I know. I'm just sad that, like, oh, football's done, and now we got to focus on other sports.
I know. Now we have to focus on the NBA. Great.
Great.
We have plenty of NBA talk, by the way, today.
We
also
do. Yes.
But, like, I think Buffalo is going to be a problem next year. Just gut feeling. Really just a gut feeling. You want to talk about chip on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Buffalo let this season get away from them. They really did. Okay. Letting go of Sean McDermott. I think Joe Brady is going to work possibly as hard as any new head coach in the league this year. He's gonna work the hell out of that offense. I'm telling you right now. I know that people are saying, well, like, I don't know how much different it's gonna look, right? Since they just promoted him from offensive coordinator to head coach. I understand all of that. But I also think that Joe Brady's one of the better offensive minds in the sport. And I think going into this season, he can't just think, all right, let's run it back with the same system. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's going to completely revamp what the Bills do. And as long as the Bills can get some serviceable help as far as, like, perimeter weapons can go, I think that Bills offense can be lethal next year, given what Josh Allen can do, what James Cook can do in the running game. Like, you're right. The Dolphins are going to suck, and the Jets are obviously going to suck, and all of that. But so New England is not going to have to go through what teams in the NFC West are going to go through, or anything of that nature, in the NFC North, whatever. But the Patriots are going to have to deal with, quite frankly, what I think is going to be like one of the 3 or 4 best teams in football next year. Like, I really think Buffalo is going to be really, really good.
And along with, trying to find another offensive weapon, I I'd be willing to put money that they are going to make a splash on the defensive side this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they pull off some trade for Max Crosby or whether they pay Trey Hendrickson a lofty sum of money. They know their weakness was on the defensive side of the ball. As much as it was just kind of like a who's who of who can Josh Allen throw the ball to, they were still putting up plenty of points on the board.
Yeah.
It was their defense that kept holding them back.
Yeah.
So I really think they're going to make a splash this offseason because, like you said, chip on their shoulder. They got to go all in. You have Josh Allen and James Cook in their primes right now.
Yeah.
You have to do this. Otherwise, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So they're going to be battling with New England. And I mean, and the same can be said with some other teams, in other divisions. The Chargers, they're going to look to probably make another move because if it wasn't for their offensive line just being decimated, they could have been a bigger fight in the playoffs. And now obviously adding Mike McDaniel to the offensive side of things, along with what they already had as a good defense,
right?
They're going to be,
Denver's going to,
Denver's going to be there.
Kansas City is still a thing. Let's also not forget that, the Chiefs are still around too.
And then there are those pesky AFC South, Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, right.
So now notice neither of us brought up any team in the AFC North.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, listen, I think it's like, it's so hard for me to, first of all, it's hard for me to imagine that the Browns are any good next year. Mm-hmm. Right. It's also kind of hard for me to imagine that the Pittsburgh Steelers are really going to be much of anything next year too. Mike McCarthy is their head coach, and I actually think there's possibility that Mike McCarthy does well in Pittsburgh. That's been well documented by me, but I still don't know who their quarterback is. And if it is Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you're running it back with a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers at that point. Like, how much better can that be? That division is going to be Baltimore and Cincinnati if Joe Burrow's healthy. Like, that's what that's going to look like.
By the way, in case you're wondering, the top free agent quarterbacks, if I'm looking besides Aaron Rodgers, and also Daniel Jones, because who knows when he'll be back next season due to his Achilles tear.
And I don't think the Colts have much of a plan of bringing him back either.
No, and why would you if he's going to miss at minimum half the season?
Right.
You're arguably your next best free agents are Malik Willis or Mitchell Trubisky. Like, that's probably your next bet. And Joe Flacco is still available again.
Mac Jones?
Mac Jones is not a free agent.
Mac Jones isn't a free agent? Oh, he's still under contract?
He's still under contract.
Okay.
So, though, at least he's not an unrestricted free agent. So, it's not like there's a very deep market that's already in NFL. And we already know this draft class is not deep in the quarterback position either.
It isn't. Right.
So it's going to be slim picking. You're either going to try to make a trade for somebody, try to give probably overpay for Malik Willis and see what happens. I love Malik Willis.
Listen, Joe Flacco will be a starting quarterback somewhere next year, right?
Or you could do the unthinkable and have Joe Flacco officially be the starter for every team in that one division.
There you go. Yeah.
And at that point, I need to make sure that every team in the AFC North retires his jersey when he's finally done.
That is, yeah. That would be something. That would be something. He becomes the Edwin Jackson or the Steve Pierce of the NFL, where you just play for every team.
Yes.
At some point. Joe Flacco would then become the 40-something-year-old version of Tyrod Taylor, maybe even more traveled than Tyrod Taylor.
Maybe. I mean, they'd be neck and neck. I mean, I don't think he's quite up to Josh Johnson level.
Oh, that's an even better one. Yeah.
But
right.
But he'd be getting closer.